Okay. Good morning, class. This is Ramesh Punitai, your physics teacher. So basically, in first lecture, we have done three properties of charges. Okay. So today we will continue with our fourth property. Okay. So now let me tell you what is fourth property. Actually, fourth property says that when the body is moving, then total charge on this body is not affected. Okay. Not affected. Suppose if we have a particular body and we have provided some charge on it, okay, and if this particular body is moving, then we can say its total amount of charge that was q initially, okay, so it will remain same. Okay, next is what? Next is property number 5. Okay, so in fourth property we have learned that whenever we provide some charge to a particular body and if this body starts, okay, or if it moves, then its charge remains constant. So what is property number 5? Okay, that is same charges, okay, like same charges repel each other. Okay, they will repel each other. Unlike charges will attract each other. This is property number 5. Like if we have plus q and minus q, or plus q and plus q, then both the charge will repel each other. This was the fifth property. Okay. Similarly, if we have one charge positive and second charge negative, that is called unlike charges. These are not similar, they are unlike. So what happens in this case? They attract each other. Okay, some force exerts between them. Okay, and that means what? They attract each other. Next is what we have to learn, that is Coulomb's law. Now there was a person whose name was Coulomb, okay, and based on fifth property he gave some observations. Okay, actually he was curious to know that if plus q and plus q charge repel each other, or otherwise plus q and minus q charge attract each other, then with how much magnitude they attract each other, with how much amount of force they attract each other. This he wants to know. Okay, so he made some experiment, and on basis of his experiment he gave some conclusions. Okay, we have to study those conclusions. Those conclusions are about the amount and nature of the force that is acting between these charged particles. Okay, so Coulomb's law we will study in two aspects. Number one, we will study about its nature, that which kind of nature electrostatic force or electrostatic attraction or repulsion force has, which kind of nature it has, and as well as how much magnitude it has. Okay, so first we will talk about nature. So point number 1 is about direction of electrostatic force. Okay, direction of electrostatic force. Okay, so Coulomb explained that suppose if we have positive charge, actually he takes some positive charge at a particular point and he fixed this charge, then he takes another charge particle that was also positive. Okay, not, it was not necessary to have a same magnitude, but he take randomly two charges. Okay, and for this charge he kept it free. Then what he observed, if this charge is fixed, this charge cannot go anywhere, but if this charge is free, this can go in a certain direction. If we want to know that in which direction this q1 is applying force on q2, okay, then we have to observe its path. Okay, initially it was at rest, and finally we found that it goes along this straight line, along this arrow. So Coulomb told us that direction of force is what? That is along the line joining two charges. Okay, along the line joining two charges. This is direction of force. For example, if we have one positive charge and suppose we have another positive charge that is kept at some distance, okay, but at this place. So if we fix this charge, then where this charge can go, I can give you like three options: 1, 2 and 3. Wherever it will go, that will be direction of its force. Okay, so practically we observe that this charge particle goes along this line 2. Okay, that is the direction that we get by joining these two charges. Similarly, if we have a positive charge and here we have a negative charge, say, and both charges are kept near to each other, then what we observe that this charge minus q moves towards plus q. So this was the first point regarding nature of the electrostatic force. Okay, now second point is what? Suppose if we have a positive charge plus q and another charge, suppose that is also, say this one is q1, this one now say q2, but both are positive. Okay, or you can take negative also. For that also this second property will be true. Okay, so what we can observe about this system charge particle q1 and q2? Okay, we can say that this q1 applies some force on q2 in this direction. By first property we can say that q1 will apply force on q2, that will be along this direction, and q2 will apply force on q1 in this direction. Okay, suppose this is F force on 1 due to 2, and here we denote force on 2 due to what? 1. Okay, then we can say that F12 is practically equal to F21, but in magnitude only. We can't write F12 equal to F21 because direction of both the forces are different. And yes, it was practically observed that this force has the similar magnitude as that of F21. Okay, this was the second property. Third property is what? Still we are talking about nature only. Okay, so third property of electrostatic force is that suppose if we have plus q1 charge here and plus q2 charge over here, okay, then we can say that q1 will apply force on q2 in this direction and q2 apply force on q1 in this direction along the line joining both the charges. Okay, and condition is what? F and F, or you can say F1 F2, F1 and F2 are equal. Okay, are equal, and F1 F2 both are acting on different bodies. Suppose this charge will have some mass m1 and this charge will have some mass m2, then this F1 is acting on this charge particle m1 mass and this F2 is acting on second charge particle m2 mass. Both forces are similar, they are opposite to each other and they are acting on different bodies. Okay, so we can say that electrostatic force acts as action reaction pair. Now remember what was the condition for action reaction pair. Suppose if we have a particular base and we have some another box of mass m that is kept on this base, okay, then we can say that this box will apply some action force on base. This is on base, this mg is acting on base, and similarly this base will provide some reaction force to this small m, okay, and that will be along this direction, which is called your normal reaction. and this normal reaction and mg both are equal, okay, and they are acting on different bodies. So here also this electrostatic force fulfill this condition, both force are equal. This is say action reaction, this is action force and this is reaction force, okay. And fourth property is what? Fourth property is that suppose if we have a charge particle q1 and we take a charge particle plus q2, you can take negative also. Here also if you consider negative charge, then this condition will be satisfied. So here we have q1 charge and q2 charge. Suppose I made a boundary is made here, okay, that is a hypothetical basically, okay. So we call it a system. This is your an imaginary system, okay. In this particular system, q1 is applying some force on q2 in this direction and q2 will apply force on q1, obviously that electrostatic force, and both are equal. So in this case we can say that F1 and this F2 both are equal, F1 equal to F2 in magnitude only, okay, not in vector form. So we can say that on this system F net is 0, net force on this system is 0. So whenever we got this concept that F net on a system is 0, there are these F1 and F2 are called internal forces, okay. These forces are not 0 but overall net force is 0. So whenever we see net force on a system is 0, we can conclude some certain results from our chapter that was center of mass, okay. We learned some concept that we can apply over here. Suppose this charge particle q1, this is charge, this charge will obviously will be on some body of mass m1, and this charge q2 is obviously this may be a ion like Na positive, or you can say Ca plus 2 like that, okay. So Na positive is what? Some element that will have mass as well, okay. So this q2 will also be placed over some mass m2, okay. So if these are two particles, okay, right now, and they both are exerting some force on each other which are equal, or net force on this system is 0, then from the center of mass we can say from this chapter that or from Newton's second law also, that F equal to dp by dt, okay, F external equal to dp by dt, and if F external is 0, then this dt will be multiplied with F external. That means what we can say, dp will be 0. So dp will be 0 means what? Final momentum, or you can write dp is p2 minus p1, final momentum minus initial momentum, that is 0, okay. Or you can say final momentum of the system equal to initial momentum of the system. Initially m1 has mass m1 and velocity 0, m2 has mass m2 and velocity 0. This is initial momentum p initial, and it will be equal to m1 into v1 final velocity. Suppose at any particular instant, because this particle will move in this direction, so it will attain some velocity, say v1 at a particular instant. At that instant we can say m1, and this particle will also move along this line, this will have some velocity v2. So we can say at a particular instant we can apply this concept, okay. What more concepts are there? Suppose if you remember, I gave you one question in your half yearly examination, or there is a problem basically on in NCERT book. That problem is what? Suppose there is a boy, okay, that is standing on a boat, okay, like this one, okay, and this boat is in water or on the water, okay, and this boy is, suppose both are at rest, this boy starts moving towards this corner. Will boat go to any certain direction? Okay, will boat go to any certain direction or not? Tell me. Yes, it may go in backward direction, and here friction, we will consider friction is almost 0. That's why I have taken water. Obviously there will be some friction, but here we are not considering any viscous force, okay. So we can say that what happens when this boy move in forward direction, okay, then boat will move in backward direction. Why? Theoretically we can understand, when a person, okay, when a person moves on a ground, then what he does, from his first leg he applies some force in backward direction, he applies some force to the ground in backward direction, and from that force F, that is acting in backward direction, he takes reaction, and that reaction ground is the second body, and this ground will provide that reaction force to the first body, that is the person, okay, and that force we utilize to move ahead, okay. This is the way how we work. You must have read one concept in your lower classes, like ninth standard, that how we work, okay. So concept is that simple one. So here in higher classes, what we have to learn, we have to learn that whenever there is a net force 0 on this particular system, means this boy is applying some force in backward direction, and board will provide it some reaction, okay, in forward direction. This boy is trying to push this boat in backward direction, and this boat will give the reaction to the boy, okay. Then this boy will move ahead, and with that action force applied by the boy on the boat, this boat will move in backward direction, okay. So in this case we can say that center of mass coordinate, that position will be 0 in this case, okay, because both are moving. So whenever we have a particle, say mass m1 and mass m2, and suppose some charge is given on this body, some charge is given on this body, suppose if at a particular instant this charged particle walk through a distance of x1, and this q1 walk through a distance of x2, or say m1 is x1 and m2 is corresponding to x2, then we can say that center of mass coordinate x bar are given by m1 x1 plus m2 x2 whole over f1 plus m2, and this center of mass position, this is 0. Why 0? If f external is 0, otherwise it can't be 0, okay. So from here we can say that m1 x1 equal to m2 x2, okay. So all these concepts, all these ideas are valid here also, okay, in electrostatic. Basically your mechanical part, mechanics and electrostatic both combined together, and then you will see some good kind of problems, okay, with the combination of mechanics as well as electrostatic, okay. So till now what we have done, let me tell you one more time. We have studied first of all the fourth property, that whenever we provide some charge to a body and it starts moving, there is no change in the charge, amount of charge. Then second property we have learned till now, that is if same kind of charge we have, positive, they repel each other, plus minus they attract each other, okay. And then Coulomb's law comes here, and Coulomb's law gave idea about which kind of force will act between them, okay, nature and magnitude. And for nature we have studied till now how many points? Here 4 points, okay. So first point was what? First point in nature, Coulomb told us about the direction of the forces, that in this direction both force act. In the second point, he told us that both force are equal in magnitude. Suppose we have q1 charge and q2 charge, then force on q2, that is F21, and force on q1, that is F12, both are equal. This is our second point. And what is the third point? Third point is what? They are action reaction pair. Electrostatic force is same like action reaction pair. Now you understand why these are called action reaction pair. And fourth point we studied, that is if F net equal to 0, then some basic concept of center of mass are applicable. Some basic problem can be asked to you based on this property, okay. Till now we have done this portion only. Now we will talk about what? We will talk about the formula Coulomb electrostatic force, okay. Now this time we will talk about our second aspect, that how to calculate magnitude of uh, that is magnitude of force that is acting between two charged particles. So suppose if we have a charged particle q1 and we have another charged particle q2, and suppose both are kept at a distance r, okay, then both apply force on each other and both are equal as well. So we will call it F and F, okay, both have equal magnitude. So basically this force is directly proportional to q1 q2. If we increase the amount of charge, either we increase q1 or we increase q2, what we see, we observe that if we increase any charge, okay, out of these two, the amount of attraction or repulsion force increases, okay, and that is directly proportional to multiplication of these two forces. This is our first equation. All these concepts were given by Coulomb electrostatic law, okay. Second property is what? If we increase the distance between the charges, then force between them decreases. Obviously, its effect will decrease if they are kept far away. So we can say that this F is directly proportional to 1 by r square, or you can say F is inversely proportional to r square. Point number second. If we combine both the point, we get F equal to K Q1 Q2 upon r square, where K is what? K is a proportionality constant and its value is how much? 9 into 10 raised to the power 9 unit, okay, 9 into 10 raised to the power 9 unit, okay. So if I talk about unit of K, if I ask you what is unit of K, then how will you calculate this? Okay, so you have done this portion in your chapter in 11th, in chapter unit and dimension, chapter number 2, that how to calculate unit of any constant. From here we can say that this K will be F into r square upon q1 q2. So we can write K equal to F into r square by q1 q2, and from here we can say that F, unit of F is Newton, r square means meter square, by q1 q2, that is Coulomb square, okay. So this is unit of K. You can calculate dimension also, but here that is not necessary that much, okay. So we have one more thing for K, like we can say F equal to q1 q2 by r square, or 9 into 10 raised to the power 9. We can use this value also, but most of the time in our numerical problem we will use notation of K only, and at the last of the problem we will put value of K, that is 9 into 10 raised to the power 9. But whatever question I will tell you, in all those questions I will use this value as K only, okay, and you have to understand that at last we have to replace that value, okay. So this value is often written as in this form, 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. In your book you will find that instead of K they have used 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, where epsilon naught is what? This is, okay, permittivity of space, okay. We will talk about it in detail after some time, but for now let me tell you just only epsilon naught is what? That is permittivity of space. Means suppose if these two charges are kept at some distance, then there will be some space between them, okay, and that space will be filled by either by air or maybe there is some material, okay. So that space, suppose here, let me explain it one more time. Suppose if we have q1 charges and q2 charges, suppose they are applying some force on each other, that is F, okay. But instead of this, right now here we have air, but instead of this, if we place some concrete wall, a thick concrete wall over here, okay, and then I ask you how much force q1 is exerting on q2 or q2 is exerting on q1, then this new force F dash will obviously lesser than F, okay. So there is some property of material, this epsilon naught is what? this is property of material. Okay, we call it permittivity of space. Permittivity of space, as here I have mentioned, you can see this property epsilon naught, this is called permittivity of space, means how much permit or permission is given by space to transfer the effect of the force. Okay, as I told you, we will discuss about this in detail after some time. For now, you just learn that here we have to put value of k only, and that is how much? 9 into 10 raised to the power 9. Moreover, you can say that k equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, that is value of pi you know very well, and epsilon naught value is given by 8.85 into 10 raised to the power minus 12. If you solve this expression, then this value comes out. Okay, so value of epsilon naught is often asked in your exam for 1 marks, that is 8.85 10 raised to the power minus 12. This is permittivity of air or space. Air allow the amount of force or effect of force by this much factor. Okay, right now you just remember this one. Okay, now we will try to understand some example. We will try to understand the Coulomb's law. Okay, how to calculate magnitude. So I will start with simple illustrations. Like if we have 1 Coulomb charge over here and 1 Coulomb charge over here, and suppose both are kept at a distance of 1 meter, then if I ask you how much force is acting between them, this F and this F, you know that F net equal to 0, but we can calculate F from here. F equal to how much? F equal to K, as you learn it right now, that F is K Q1 Q2 by R square. This is same like gravitational force. Okay, this formula is similar to gravitational force, where we write F equal to G m1 m2 upon R square. But here we have to calculate this electrostatic force, and this is 9 into 10 raised to the power 9 into Q1 Q2, that is 1 into 1 upon R square. Remember, all values you have to keep in MKS. Okay, like 1 meter, 1 Coulomb. So here we will get our answer 9 into 10 raised to the power 9 Newton force. Okay, same like that. Suppose if I take another example. Okay, say 1 Coulomb charge is kept over here, minus 1 Coulomb is charge kept over here, then how much force is acting? You know that answer will be same, that is K Q1 Q2 by R square. Here we have to calculate only magnitude. Okay, then what is the effect of minus 1 on this answer? Effect is nothing, but this minus sign tells us that force will be of attractive nature. Okay, direction of this force will be like this one, as I have shown by arrow. Okay, this much Newton. Now let me take another example. Suppose this time we have a triangle, and at the vertex of the triangle we have kept 3 charges, and this triangle is an equilateral triangle. Obviously you know that each angle will be 60 degree. Now I ask you, suppose this point is B, this point is A, this point is C. I ask you how much force is acting on B. Okay, so how will you solve this? This time we don't have 2 charges, we have 3 charges. Okay, so how will you solve this? For that, let me tell you that by third charge, if we have third charge also, then by third charge, force between 2 other charge is not affected. What does it mean? Now many of you may interpret this line in a wrong way, but let me clear this. Suppose if we have two charges, 1 and 1, and they are kept at 1 meter, okay, like this one, then they will apply some force on each other. If we have replaced the third charge over here, then this amount of force, this force that is acting by 1 coulomb on 1 coulomb, that force will not be reduced or increased by this charge. Obviously this charge will also show its effect on this charge, that is additional force, but the previous force is not affected, that will remain as it is. Okay, now we have to calculate the amount of force on any one vertex. Say this point is B, we want to calculate force on B. So how we will solve this? Okay, let me write in a fresh page now. So how we will solve this one? So we have three charge particle. Here we have 1 coulomb. Here we also have 1 coulomb. This is B, this is A. I think this was C. Okay, this is C, this is B. Okay, so this 1 coulomb will apply. Just think that this 1 coulomb is not present over here. Okay, only 1 coulomb is present over here. This 1 coulomb will try to repel this 1 coulomb. In which direction? In direction of arrow. And now think only this charge is present and these two charges are present. Forget this charge for a while. Then you will see that this 1 coulomb will apply some force on this 1 coulomb, that is also F. Both are F actually, because both charges are equal in magnitude and distances is same. Now we will calculate it one by one. First we will calculate force on C due to A, force on C due to A, plus then we will calculate, this is our first part. Second part is what? We will calculate force on C due to, this is B, not C. So force on B due to C, this is F, B, C. Okay, so first part is what? FCA, force on C due to A, that is K, Q1, Q2, that is 1 into 1 upon R square, 1 meter square. So this will come out 1 or K Newton on B. Similarly, force is force on B due to C, that will be K, this Q1, 1 coulomb, this Q2, 1 into 1 upon the distance is 1 meter square. So our answer will be same, K Newton. Now we know that for this particular point B, one force is acting along this, one force is acting along this, both are same and both have value of K, that is 9 into 10 raised to the power 9. We can say that this angle is 60 degree by equilateral triangle property, and this angle is also 60. Why? Because both are vertically opposite. So as this is 60, so we can calculate the net force on C. Okay, because net force on B on this point, due to combination of these 2 points, we can apply law of parallelogram. Okay, only 2 forces are present over here. So we will write first force square, second force, 2 times of, if you remember that formula, P square Q square plus 2 PQ cos theta, the same I am applying over here. Okay, and cos 60 degree. So our answer will come out this K square plus K square, that is 2K square, plus again 2K square, and cos 60 is 1 by 2. So our answer is K root 3. Okay, this is our final answer. So this is method number 1. Now let me tell you method number 2 by which you can solve this. Suppose if we have this point over here, and this point has 1 coulomb, this point also has 1 coulomb. Suppose force on B is K unit and force on B due to C is also K unit. We have calculated it earlier. Till here everything is same. Okay, then what we have to do, we know that this angle is 60 degree and this angle is also 60 degree and this one is 60. So by corresponding angle this angle is also 60. So we will apply solving this problem, we will apply the method of resolution of two forces. Okay, so this component will be k cos 60. Similarly, this will become k sin 60, and here this k will have component k cos 60, and here it will have k sin 60. So we can say that k cos 60 will be cancelled out. So our final answer is 2 times of k sin 60. So force on this point, that is B, will be 2 times of k, and sin 60 is root 3 by 2. So our final answer is again what, k root 3. That is same. So any method you can apply. Basically, if we have only two forces, then we can directly apply law of parallelogram. But if we have more than two forces, then we have to use this method only. Okay, so it is better if you practice by this method to solve such problems by resolution of forces. Okay, now I am giving you some more questions for homework. Okay, you have to solve these questions. See, initially I will give you the simple one. Okay, because we are just starting our chapter. This is lecture number 2 only. As soon as we will go for the third lecture and fourth lecture, then we will try to solve some good level problem. Okay, 1 coulomb, say minus 1 coulomb, each side is 1 meter. Okay, and this is what, a square. So you have to calculate force on this coulomb. On this point, force is how much? Okay, and direction also. Okay, next question we have to solve, that is what, suppose if we have hexagon. Okay, and property of hexagon is what, that is internal angle is 120 degree. How we know this internal angle 120? There is a formula, that is what, 2n minus 4, okay, into 90 degree and divide by n, that is equal to internal angle. Okay, so for a triangle, you can see in triangle there are 3 sides. N is basically side of the polygon, and for triangle, let me verify it. 3 to just 6 minus 4 upon 3 into 90. 6 minus 4 is 2. How much? Okay, 2, and 2 into 30, that is 60 degree. So for equilateral triangle, we know this angle is 60 degree. That is correct formula. Okay, so here if you replace n by 6, you will get 6 to the 12, 12 minus 4, 8, 8 9 ja 720, and 720 divided by 6, that is 12. Okay, so 120 will be your internal angle, and each side is say, that is 1 meter. Okay, and charge, you can assume that 1 coulomb is kept here, 1 coulomb is also present over here. Here we have minus 1 coulomb, and here we have again plus 1 coulomb, and here also plus 1 coulomb. You have to calculate force on minus 1. Okay, try to solve this problem at your home. Okay, so next topic is Coulomb's law in vector form. Okay, now this formula is a little complicated, so you have to pay attention over here. Okay, not that much complicated. Actually, you should have good knowledge of vector to solve this problem. Okay, so what is the vector form of Coulomb's law? Like suppose if we have a charge q1, and suppose if we have another charge q2. Okay, and suppose this charge is kept at x equal to 1 meter, okay, and say y is equal to 1 meter. Coordinate of this point is how much? 1 comma 1, q1 charge, okay, and q1, say this is 1 coulomb, and q2 also consider 1 coulomb, okay, and this charge is kept, say, at a distance, at a coordinate 4 meter. 4 meter means from origin, this is total 4 meter, means distance between these two charges in horizontal, that is 4 minus 1, 3 meter, okay, and this charge, okay, let me change some coordinate first, okay, say this is not 1 meter, it is 5 meter, this coordinate is 1 comma 5. What does it mean? That means q1 is kept at x equal to 1 and y equal to 5 at this position, okay, and this charge particle is kept at a coordinate x equal to 4 and say y equal to 1, means 4 comma 1 are the coordinate. I hope you got the you got each and everything over here, that about coordinate we can say this is kept at 1 comma 5 and this is kept at 4 comma 1. So question is what? Calculate force between q1 and q2. What is force between q1 and q2? Okay, can you solve this? Okay, just pause your screen for a minute and try to solve this, okay, then look here for the solution. Okay, now we will solve this question directly. First method that I will apply, that is direct application of Coulomb's law. Method 2 that we will learn by vector form of Coulomb's law. First, I will tell you how to solve this problem by direct application, as we have learned till now, how to calculate force between two charged particles. That is easy. Then the same problem I will tell you to solve with the help of vector form, and I have taken this simple illustration, okay. The basic purpose to take such illustration is to teach you how to apply basically the vector form, okay. With the help of this example we will learn how to apply the vector form, because many students find difficulty in vector form. That's why I have started this concept with example only, okay. After that, if you want, then I can tell you theory also, but more relevant is what? That is example. So as you can see, two charges q1, q2, okay, these are coordinates. So I have made this diagram on a fresh page, okay, and we will apply method number 1 first, okay. These are two charged particles, say 1 coulomb and 1 coulomb. Both are kept at this is at 1 meter and this is at 4 meter, okay. Distance between them is 3 meter and its coordinate are 4 comma 1 and its coordinate are 1 comma 5, okay. So suppose I made a line, dotted line, and suppose if I join these two charge, okay, then what is the distance between these two charge particles, okay. So say from 1 to 4 it is 3 meter and this coordinate is 5 meter, means what? From 0 to this point total length is 5 and this y coordinate is 1, that means this point is 1. So this perpendicular is how much in this triangle? That is 5 minus 1, that is 4, okay, 4. This is 4 and this is 3, okay. So this length will be obviously by Pythagoras we can say that under root 4 square plus 3 square, that is r equal to how much? 5. Now we want to calculate force between these two charged particles, for which distance between them is how much? That is 5, and force on any charge will be along this line, and that force will be k q1 q2 divided by how much? R square, okay. So this answer will come out K by 5 Newton. Value of K you know very well, but as I told you, I will use this notation K only. Okay, this much Newton force is acting between these two charged particles. So this is method number 1. Now I will tell you this to solve this problem by method number 2 or by vector form. Okay, this is our main purpose, to learn vector form. So remember how to apply vector form. First, let me tell you some theory part. Okay, this is the way how we learn new concepts. Okay, before starting the concept, before starting the theory, we should know that why we need this theory. Okay, to calculate such problems. Okay, or to calculate basically problem that is based on charge in space. Okay, you will get to know about it. Just learn for now what is theory of the vector form. Suppose we have one charge particle q1 and second charge particle q2. Suppose its position vector is r1. For example, if I ask you what is position vector of this 1 coulomb, its position is this one. So its position vector means how much distance we have to move to reach this point. That is called position vector. So in x we have to move 1 meter and in y we have to move 5 meter. So position vector, this is my rough work. Those students who don't know what is the meaning of position vector, for them I am telling you this illustration. For example, in this case, for 1 coulomb, we can say its position vector r1. Okay, this r1 is basically what? This is 1 meter, 1,5, or we can say in x direction we are moving 1, so 1i, and in y direction we are moving 5 unit in j direction. So it is called position vector. This is how we calculate position vector. Similarly, if I ask you what is position vector of this 1 coulomb here, then what will be your reply? Sir, you will say, sir, we are going 4 meter in x direction, so we will write 4i. Then we are going 1 meter in y direction, so 1 meter is 1j is in y direction. So this 4i plus 1j is position vector. Okay, I hope now you understand what is position vector of any particle, how we calculate. If we know the coordinate of the point, we can calculate it. X coordinate multiplied by I plus y coordinate multiplied by j. Suppose now this point charge q2 also has some position and its position vector is r2. Okay, so this is first vector, this is second vector, and distance between q1 and q2 is how much? That is r. To solve this problem, what we need? We need Coulomb's force is equal to k q1 q2 by r square, and this r is what? This is magnitude of length, distance. This is magnitude of distance between both the charges. Okay, so this will be q1 q2 by r square, and we have denoted here f vector. So what is direction of this magnitude of force? The direction is r cap. R cap means a unit vector along this line. This is the vector form of Coulomb's law. Means this formula actually tells us the magnitude of force that is acting between these two charged particles that we have solved earlier, but as well as with the help of this formula we can get direction of this force also. Okay, and direction will be along this line, and this line is denoted by r cap, unit vector. Okay, so we can write this formula in this form also. That is more useful. You will see this form in your NCERT book as well, that multiply by r here and multiply by r in numerator part. So a unit vector in this direction into magnitude of vector is called what? Is called complete vector. So we can write it k q1 q2 by r cube into r vector. Got my point? So this is our vector form. Now I know that many of you will be confused. Okay, will be facing problem to understand this form. That's why I am telling you I will take some simple illustration. Okay, you have to understand that illustration and with the help of this that illustration you will understand the actual meaning of this form. Okay, it looks like difficult, but if you solve some example with the help of this formula, then this form will be more easy for you. Okay, after some time or after next lecture or in next lecture, I will also tell you that where we have to use this vector form and where we have to use the direct formula that we apply over here, k1 1 by r square, where we will use this one and where we will use this one. Both are similar or different, what is relation between them, all the things I will clear you in the next lecture. Okay, but for this lecture your purpose should be to understand this vector form. Remember, both give the same answer. Okay, so now solve example. Okay, example, how we solve this example. Suppose we have first 1 coulomb charge, its coordinate are 1 comma 5. Second 1 coulomb charge, its coordinate are 4 comma 1. This is r1 and this is r2. Okay, so and distance between them is how much? It is r, or in vector form we can write this is r vector. Okay, so Coulomb's law, according to Coulomb's vector law, Coulomb's vector form, we can say F equal to k q1 q2, that is same 1 into 1 upon, instead of writing r square you have to write r cube. Remember it, you will not write r square, you will write r cube. R cube means this magnitude, this length in power 3 and multiply by vector r. So just replace the values. K is, you know very well, we will use k only here, that is 9 into 10 to the power 9. 1 into 1, that is 1 upon. Now this r is what? This is magnitude of this vector. Now this is our first vector, this is second vector, this is our third vector. Now here again I will use some rough work. I will do some rough work. Okay, so tell me, this is vector, this is also a vector, and this is also a vector. There is a relation between these three vectors, r1, r and r2. Remember this tick mark, this r2 is known, r1 is known because these coordinates are known to us, but this r is unknown, and in this formula we need r, distance between them, but we don't know how much distance is it, although we have calculated that is 5, but here we don't know how much is the distance. So we are trying to calculate this much distance of this vector r. So there is a relation between this vector. Remember, this direction is along here, this direction is along here, it is nothing, and this direction is along here, this direction is along here. By law of triangle we can say that this first vector plus second vector equal to our third vector, or you can write r vector r1 plus r vector equal to what? R2 vector. Or you can say this vector r from here, we require r equal to how much? R2 minus r1. Or magnitude of r will be how much? That is r, that is magnitude of r2 minus r. Okay, so here we need r cube. So r cube means r2 minus r1. This vector r is how much? Final position vector minus initial position vector, that is our displacement vector r2 minus r1. Or you can understand in this way also, this is more easy to understand. Okay, and its magnitude, we don't require here vector, we require its magnitude. This is r, remember, and its power is how much? 3. And here also we have to write r, and r is how much? This vector r is how much? This r2 minus r1, r2 minus r1. Got my point? Again you can understand from here, law of triangle, we can say this first vector r1 plus r equal to third vector r2, r1 plus r equal to r2. From here r equal to how much? Take this r1 to the right hand side, it will be r2 minus r1. So this thing we have used over here. Okay, so can you tell me what should I write now? R2 is how much? R2 is 4i plus 1j. 4i plus 1j minus r1 is how much? 1i plus 5j, 1i plus 5j, and it's 2. Multiply by again the same thing, r2 minus r1, but in complete vector, not magnitude. Now 4i minus 1i is how much? 3i. 1j minus 5j is how much? Minus 4j. So we can write this one. Okay. So next page, remember, if you solve this, the same thing will be written over there, 3i minus 4. Okay. So from the last page, this was our answer, that F equal to, as you can see here, F equal to net forces K 3i minus 4j upon 4i. This is same 3i minus 4j, but its magnitude only, and power is how much? 3. So here I will write F equal to, I hope you can see this, F equal to K times 3i minus 4j divided by, this is vector, its magnitude will be coefficient of I square plus coefficient of j square, and power is how much? 3. So this will become F equal to K 3i minus 4j divided by, this is 9 plus 16, again power is 3, so this will be K 3i minus 4j upon 25, and under root of 25 is 5 raised to the power 3. So this is our answer. Remember, if you observe on this, if you if you see the answer that we got previously, that was K by 25, that was magnitude only, this was magnitude only, and here what we have got, that is this one. Now tell me, this is your previous answer, K by 25, and this is your new answer. Tell me, question is same, but answer are different or same? Okay, answer are same. This tells us direction, but this tells us magnitude. If we calculate magnitude of this vector, then what we will get? We will get the same thing, K by 25. Let's check it. F equal to, magnitude of F equal to K by 125 cube of 5, and this vector will have magnitude of this one, this much, that is K by 125. This we have solved previously, 16, okay, not square, 16. So this is 25 and root is 5. So answer is again what? K by 25c. Remember, difference only is that in vector form we understand, in vector form we get direction, but in direct application we get only magnitude. Okay. Now if you find any difficulty while understanding this problem, let me take a simple illustration. Okay, I will take very basic illustration. Okay, and that will be our last illustration of this exercise, okay, of this lecture. So just let me draw this example. Suppose say we have 1 coulomb over here kept at 1 meter, 1 coulomb over here kept at 2 meter. If I ask you what is the force between these two charge particles, tell me. Force on second due to 1, this is second charge. Apply the direct formula, means you have to tell magnitude only. You will write, sir, K q1 q2, that is 1 into 1 upon r square. R is distance between them. From here to here we have 2 meter, from here to here we have 1 meter. So what is the gap between them? That is 1 meter square. So we will write K by 1 Newton only. And if I ask you what is direction on this force, you will say along the line joint, that is along I. By common sense we can say K Newton, or 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton in I direction along this line, because both are kept at x axis. Now if I ask you apply the second method, then what will be your answer? Now see, f equal to k q1 q2 upon r cube, and r cube is how much? R cube is r2 minus r1 cube. Its coordinate are 2 comma 0, its coordinate are 1 comma 0, and here you will write r2 minus r1 in vector form. So here you will write k upon r2 is how much? 2i, minus r1 is how much? 1i, its cube, into r2 minus r1 is how much? 2i minus 1i in complete vector form. So here you will write k 1i upon 1i, its magnitude, k 1i, coefficient of I square, power is 3, and you can understand this is ki unit Newton. Both answer are same. Okay, both answer are same. This much Newton force is acting. So we can apply vector form, or we can apply that formula also. Okay, vector form, remember vector form, why we are learning vector form? If this question is very easy with this formula, because vector form is basically is applicable on space or 3D. Okay, that we will understand on the next term. Okay, thank you.